Hi, Adam. As you know, you've had Wolfram syndrome for over 20 years, and through this time, as it's progressed and the complexities have come into play, you know yourself that navigating the system as well as managing the disease itself or the conditions that are associated with it have been a challenge, but you've been able to do that successfully through training, nutrition, and self-management. So tell us, in the beginning, what is Wolfram syndrome?
Wolfram syndrome is a rare genetic illness which is rapid aging and deterioration of the central nervous system, causing type 1 insulin-dependent diabetes, diabetes insipidus of the kidneys, optical atrophy, deafness, and life after the life expectancy of 30, there's a chance of paralysis.
Adam, can you share with us how you manage the conditions associated with Wolfram syndrome and as the disease itself has progressed?
Well, Wolfram syndrome first presented itself at age 7 with type 1 insulin-dependent diabetes. I started out with long-lasting insulin, but I had low tolerance. It was causing hypoglycemic episodes, and so then I transitioned to an insulin pump to help control my glucose fluctuations that occurred hourly, and then that better helped me control my diabetes in the evening when I'm asleep. And I soon lost sensibility of hypo and hyperglycemic glucose levels, and so then I progressed to a Dexcom sensor, which allowed me to monitor my glucose level and see where it's heading and how quick, and be able to act before it reached hypo or hyperglycemic levels. And then, you pause it?
Adam, what have been some of the needs that you have had because of the conditions associated with Wolfram syndrome, and how have those needs changed as Wolfram syndrome has progressed?
Well, beginning with type 1 diabetes, neurodegenerative diabetes, I've needed an insulin pump as well as a accurate glucose monitor. And then in addition is a continuous glucose monitoring system such as the Dexcom, which is, in my opinion, is the best, most accurate continuous glucose monitoring system. And those three devices have helped me control my diabetes and keep my A1C under control and to feel better and prevent all the mood swings and the hypo and hyperglycemic glucose levels. And then with diabetes insipidus of my kidneys, I've needed a bladder augmentation requiring me to catheterize 5 times a day to control the reflux of urine back into my kidneys and causing bladder and kidney infections. And then I also, to control diabetes insipidus of my kidneys, I've needed HCTZ or hydrochlorothiazide for nephrogenic diabetes insipidus, and I've needed to use desmopressin acetate for central diabetes insipidus for the hormonal imbalance from my pituitary gland. And then, in addition to the optical atrophy, I've needed optical devices such as magnifying glasses, super high magnification reading glasses, CCTVs, and those are all to accomplish my goals at school, at work, at home, dining out in a restaurant, and then those were also allowing me to drive. Until recently, I lost the ability to drive because my vision is no better than 2100 best corrected, and so now I am needing transportation, and that's whether it's an Uber ride or walking to my destination or using a sufficient public transportation. So if you don't live in an area with sufficient public transportation, then there's an area or a struggle that you have to overcome and walk to your destination, and then that's more exercise causing glucose fluctuations, and so that's another issue that's come about just due to transportation.
But sometimes that would be the only exercise somebody would have, and you exercise every day. That's the difference, right?
Right.
That's been where you've been very disciplined with your nutrition and fitness, and then all of the walking, since you moved out on your own, it's just increased in your exercise, and nutritional focus has never decreased.
Yes, that is correct. And the nutrition and fitness regimen that I'm on, that has been one of the greatest needs in order to control my diabetes and decrease my insulin dependence. And so I don't depend solely on insulin to control my diabetes, but now I can use fitness and nutrition as an alternative to control my diabetes, decrease my A1C level, and feel better about myself and increase mental and psychological health. And that helps me to better perform at work and throughout my daily routine. And then when I was diagnosed with optical atrophy, when I was diagnosed with deafness, my hearing aids, which were provided by vocational rehab, those helped me go through college as well as high school. That was when I first got the hearing aids, and those hearing aids, those helped me properly take notes. And if I wasn't able to take notes, there was a note taker provided, and then also in school a CCTV was provided, so that way I can read the paperwork during class. There was extended time provided, so I can, take a test and do my best that I can do on the test. There was enlarged text software for the computer where you could either enlarge the text to make it to a readable print, or there was software that could read the text to you. So if your vision is so bad that you can't read, there are softwares out there that could have helped me or helped you, helped any of you as a visually disabled individual. And there are many resources out there to help us overcome the visual problems, as well as the auditory problems, such as the cochlear implants or the hearing aids or megaphones, or they even have technology where the teacher can wear a microphone and you have an internal hearing aid to where you can block out the rest of the noise in the room and hear just the teacher talking to you, and you not miss out on certain important pieces of information that may be handed out that may be tested on later.
Adam, now that you've talked about school and growing up and all the conditions associated with Wolfram syndrome, as you were becoming a young adult and had gone to college, you the next step was your professional career and independent living. How were you able to accomplish that, and what were some of the limitations or barriers that you had to address?
Well, I transitioned to living by myself in a one-bedroom apartment, which was in a sufficient location, which was like living on campus at a college where everything was in walking distance for groceries, pharmacy, post office. Everything that I needed was in walking distance, and so
And
then
the gym.
I didn't have to worry about not being able to drive to different locations, except for having to go to work. And so having to go to work to get back and forth from work, I have neighbors, I have family members that live in the area that are willing to help me out when I need a ride. And then at work, my needs are medical benefits, one, because as I'm trying to increase my hours at work, I'm dependent on Medicare and Medicaid, and so when my hours increase at work, I'm going to lose some of my medical benefits, and so therefore I need better medical benefits, and then I also need
So that you can reach your full potential and your professional goals.
So that way I can reach a financial stability to where I can afford to live on my own and afford the minute things that are needed, such as food, prescription, doctor's appointments, and medical supplies. And then also, when living on my own, I need And the final thing that made it possible for me to move out on my own was the Dexcom sensor. So that way, the Dexcom sensor with Share allowed my parents and my loved ones to monitor my glucose level along with me. So that way, in the evening or late at night when I'm asleep, when I don't have sensibility of high or low glucose levels, they're able to respond to me and possibly call me or let me know when something's wrong, and then not actually have to be here in person, but allow me to live independently and just have them assist me when needed. And then also, the other barrier that I've experienced not only now but earlier in life is the social aspect, because throughout early in life, my concentration was fixated on health, nutrition, fitness, and so I wasn't able to expand my social skills and initiate relationships socially, intimately. And then now that I am still fixated on fitness and nutrition, but I can't drive, that means my getting out on my own is even less than it used to be when I was in school still driving. And so now I have the social barrier to where the only people I come in contact with are the people that I see at work or my next door neighbor.
Adam, can you kind of summarize for us just, some of the things that you went over, and what are some of the goals when you want to talk about care planning, structure, independent living, and making sure that you have the medical care and tools that you need to manage Wolfram syndrome or diabetes?
Well, in summary, technology and science are great things that have made advances in the medical field, and they have helped me and assisted me throughout my life as well as right now. And these are just some of the technologies that have assisted me, such as the glucose meter, the Dexcom sensor, and my insulin pump. And these are just a few of some of the devices that have helped me live a full life throughout this time right now. But my needs are still, flourishing, and my needs are still extending. And so in order to live a full life in my later adulthood, self-management, I have discovered, is one of the most important aspects in controlling not only Wolfram, but diabetes, or anyone with a rare or just a common chronic illness. And so without self-management, other people can't help you. So as I say, you have to be able to help yourself before you can ask for help. And so by helping yourself through fitness, nutrition, proper insulin therapy, through all your controlling of diabetes, or maybe that's catheterization, or proper pill and prescription usage, by self-management, that improves your self-sufficiency and your ability to live independently and to experience life to its fullest and actually enjoy life. And so my ultimate goal is to bridge technology, science, the wonderful research being done at Washington University, and educating and helping people navigate through the resources and services available to live a full and independent life, and helping them depend on themselves to control their ailment, as well as using things like the technology and the medical aspects. And so by doing that, and my position in my position, I would be able to bridge people to the sources and resources available to help them self-manage and to live a more self-sufficient, independent lifestyle.